Alright, we should be. Let's see. It says we're live, but I can't see the video on the YouTube page. It's strange. Is it because it hasn't started yet officially? Hmm. Well, I don't know what the audio is gonna sound like actually because I'm using a different mic as well. So um, we'll see what happens. But yeah. Yo, hello, Serena. Um, yeah, I'm just doing some art today. Actually, I should probably move the mic to a place where it won't get disturbed. There we go. And I can move around comfortably. But yeah, today I'm just doing a bit of art. I'm gonna be doing some commission work today. Yo, you can see me? Okay, that's good. I will have my head down a lot of the time because I am doing artwork on my iPad until I start working on the computer or something. But right now, the thing you're seeing is actually some birthday art actually. My friend's birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Sky Mall. But you don't actually have to do that. But essentially I like to do art for my friends and stuff like that. So Sky Mall mentioned that they might want some kind of drawing of their OC. So I was more than happy to oblige. Um, so right now I'm just doing like a watercolor-ish kind of a full watercolor, let's say, like digital watercolor, of this gigantic robot. The lore of it is that they are kind of they don't really understand human emotions, so they think that if they dress up with a mask on, that will essentially, make them a bit more empathetical or like something like they can essentially blend in with the humans more, which is kind of funny, I think. Um, and yeah, happy birthday, Sky Mall. It's actually a Sky Mall, like a shopping mall, but yeah, no, that's great. Let me actually ping them that I am actually drawing their stuff live. Let me see if I can do this. Also, I got a new shirt. Also, I should probably just there you go. Health. Let me see. Here we go. There we go. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Okay, so yeah, I'm just drawing on my iPad a little bit today. It's gonna be easier going than the watercolor stream, just because I'm more not because it's easier or anything like that. It's just that I'm more in my comfort zone. I'm a bit more settled in, um, a bit more used to streaming and like actually seeing stuff. And also I just came out of two games actually. I just did two games back to back, and later on in the day, at night, I will be playing in another game. This one is gonna be a real life game, so I'm gonna be playing in a Fist game, FIST. It's like Metal Gear Solid kind of deal, I think, where it's espionage and we're supposed to um free an I think it was we were basically trying to free an entire apartheid activist from a jail. Um, Basically, we were helping the not ANC free not Nelson Mandela from jail. Yeah, that was essentially the kind of thing that we were doing. So we're going on to the second kind of session of it now. So I'm gonna be meeting up with those people later on in the day, and I thought I should get some work done before then. Um, Thought like it might be good to get a little bit of work done. And also like I guess I wanted to start doing a lot more streams and trying to get into the groove of things. And one way to kind of I guess kind of get back into the swing of things usually for me is by having as little friction as possible. So hence why I'm doing essentially a stream of my work instead of like a solo RPG or something like that. I don't want to get too I guess, too much into the deep end too fast. Yesterday I did record a solo session of Coloraf. So I have that up on the channel actually, but it just isn't made public yet. I just want to make sure that all the audio is correct and everything. But I think it turned out really good because this is the first time that I actually tried to play Coloraf with miniatures, wherein I will. So one of the things that didn't go so good is that I was having top-down shots. So if there were monsters, then yeah, it's easy to see everything. And yeah, that's fine and all. But like once it came to say um human-sized creatures, like humanoids or humans themselves, it became a bit more tricky because then at that point, you're seeing the stuff from top down. You're essentially just looking at blobs on like the battle mat, but it looks pretty cool still, I think. And yeah, I want to keep doing some more of that because for me at least, like using the miniatures and this crappily made kind of like battle mat that I drew out on a piece of paper, that heightens the immersion a lot for me in a way that is hard to explain. Um, so even if I, don't do it for the camera, I'll still do it for myself. She's looking wonderful. Hey, I'm glad you think so. Happy birthday. Well, late birthday, honestly. I mean, it's already passed. But happy birthday nonetheless. Um, I basically wanted to expand upon the existing concept that you gave me, as well as the existing concept art that you gave me, because I looked at it and I was like, well, everybody who contributed art of this character seems to have done their own take on it. So I was like, it's probably in the spirit of things if I, essentially try to draw her in a more, like a more, something that's more me, I guess, which is in this case more of like, I actually, that's a weird thing to say because this illustration is very much not my kind of style because the watercolorish kind of look is kind of new to me, like I'm kind of like still getting used to it, I guess. But yeah, like I kind of like working in watercolors both digitally and traditionally. They feel very different. They're essentially two extremely different mediums. They don't feel anything alike, but the end result, I'd say, like at least for Procreate, could have fooled me, like it does it very well. And I do enjoy working with digital watercolor, even though it's so different. I know a lot of people try to emulate the working style of the traditional medium within a digital medium, but I feel like that's not really necessary. They're two different mediums, So for me at least, right, I'm completely content if it's a different medium as long as I can kind of have fun with it. I like people to do their own thing with my characters. Yeah, I kind of like was looking through the art because I wasn't sure. I didn't really want to ask you either because I wanted to make up my own mind. Whether I should be extrapolating on it, like making up my own mind about what to draw or how to draw it. And I kind of looked at all the different illustrations. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's probably in the spirit of things that Also, I've drawn art for you before, like for like fan art and stuff like that of like campaigns that you run. By the way, SkyMall does you GM some games for me in the past. Um, and yeah, so I'm kind of familiar with like what you like. I kind of thought it might be interesting to give her a plague doctor mask, hence the plague doctor mask. I don't know how to say that more naturally, but yeah, I thought that would be interesting to play around with because I saw everybody was doing different masks, right? So yeah, I don't know. I really like using the new brushes in Procreate. They're very, very enjoyable to use. Like they don't feel analog because a lot of people are like, does it feel analog? And like it does of course it doesn't, right? Like you're still tapping a screen, even if you use a matte screen protector, which I'm not, but even if you're using a matte screen protector, which I have done in the past, you're still going to be tapping on a screen. Nothing will feel like paper. Alright, so what I do is I just try to find my own joy in the creative process and kind of just adapt it for my own use case, you know? That's it. We're gonna skip from this to a commission fairly soon because I think this is mostly done. I'd say like it's almost 100% there already for what I want to do with it. I might kind of yeah, I'm not sure about this, but I might come back to it afterwards and kind of tweak it up a little bit more. But I think I'm fairly happy with how it is. One of her gimmicks is her having a big collection of masks. Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of guessed that because of the description that you gave, right? Because you mentioned that she kind of like is trying to appear empathetic by having masks. So I was like, that makes sense that she would have a varying collection of them in order to show off different emotions or different states of being, right? Like I felt like that made sense. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense that they would have. Well, maybe not Plague Doctor mask. That might be a bit. that might be a bit of a stretch, but I think like having different masks of different expressions. So actually, at first I was actually going to do one of those opera masks with like a mask where it's half happy and half kind of like sad. But I decided against it because I thought a Plague Doctor mask would be a lot more, well, not appropriate, just a lot more cool. That was the only reason. That was essentially the only reason that I went with a Plague Doctor mask. Because I was like, that'll be cool. I think that's a valid reason. I feel like, that's a valid reason to do anything, really. Alright, there we go. I think, yeah, oh my god. Uh, some debris on my iPad. Something just fell from, like a piece of debris just fell from the ceiling. That probably isn't good. But who cares? Let's see. Alright, there we go. So I'm gonna do a bit of rim lighting on the back and then I'm gonna call it done. I might do the rim lighting. No, I'm gonna use a soft brush for it. So I'm gonna use this and then I'm just gonna gradually kind of soften some parts out and we'll call it done. The reason why I want to use the rim lighting is because I feel like specifically this part here, it makes more sense to kind of isolate it using the rim lighting because it's essentially two parts here, right? There's like the jacket here and there's like the clothing here. What I might also do is I might darken this part up as well. But yeah, I actually love drawing, I mean, I guess everybody knows this by now, but I love drawing stuff for friends. So I actually try to do it on a semi-regular basis, where I just draw things for friends to remind them that, oh, like, I appreciate you as a friend, or whatever. So yeah, it's quite nice. So I keep out as a merchant in like every game I've run. Yeah, like she didn't really have a mask though, did she? Wait, she did. Yeah, I'm thinking about like our Frontier Scum game. I can't remember. I remember the main person that we interacted with didn't have a mask. But this was like one of the side merchants, I think. So yeah, no, yeah, they did have a mask. Ah, okay. That's cool. But yeah, alright. I think that's where I'm gonna leave it, except for I'm gonna make this a bit more metallic. And the way you can do that is just by having a bit of like the reflection of like what is in the background on this. You can just kind of make it up. I'm gonna have a bit of reds in there as well. Like some kind of reflection and it looking like shiny towards the end is also why I kind of like subconsciously kind of gradated out the greens here. Because, I'm trying to make it look like it's part of the world. I might have gone a bit too far though. I might kind of go back on it a little bit by adding a bit of shadow. But other than that, we should be good. All right, cool. She might not have had a mask on in the picture. A friend did a sketch of her for westerns. That might have been it. That honestly might have been it. Because I don't really remember. I remember like everybody had like essentially cowboy hats on and stuff like that. I don't remember like a literal robot with a mask on. But I might be misremembering as well anyway, so. But yeah, I do remember that everybody like had this kind of Western theme going on because which makes sense, right? Uh, given the theme of that game. All right, cool, done. I'm gonna send you this afterwards. I might still edit it after, so I actually will. Yeah, I won't send it to you right now if that's okay, unless you need it right now. I'll send you after the stream is over. And then I will. Yeah, I'll just send you it after the stream is over. Um, I'm trying to see whether there's anything else I want to edit, but I don't think there really is anything. I might do a gradient map all over afterwards, just so I can maybe make the colors pop a bit more or add some kind of brightness, contrast thing going on, but don't think that's entirely necessary. So yeah, it's done. I'm going to move on to the next illustration. We're gonna kind of blitz through some of these today. I think I might do some commission work today. Not might do, I definitely am doing some commission work today. It's just which commissions I'm doing. So let me just check real quick on my commissions. Hopefully this doesn't show up on the it better not show up on the stream because these are my private messages. Okay, it's not. It's good. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let me see. There's two main commissions that I'm looking at the moment. Actually three main commissions. I'm actually gonna work on. I think today I'm actually gonna be working on a Fly Night commission. If you guys have heard of that video game. I'm doing a banner. Am I allowed to show it on stream? I might not be allowed to show it on stream. Definitely not in a recorded video for YouTube, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know if it's under NDA, so I'm gonna be safe about it and not stream that one. So in that case, I'm gonna stream one of the ones that I have permission to actually draw on stream. So we'll do that. Let's see. 20 felt sprite. Okay. I have some work lists of like stuff that I'm supposed to draw. And I have specific dimensions that I have to use actually. Let's see. Major enemies. Right, okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Alright, so I will actually turn off, I'm gonna switch to webcam mode so that I can download the image on my iPad and then put it into Procreate. So I don't want to show any of my private documents, so I'm gonna switch to this for just a second. Just bear with me here for a bit. Let's see here. Import in photo. Do I have it here? Oh wait, no, I don't have it. Okay, I have to download it. Sorry, give me a second, everybody. I need to download the template file for the drawings that I'm gonna be doing, just so I can make sure that it is in the correct sizing and in the correct aspect ratio and stuff like that. So let me just do that real quick. If it will connect to the internet, please. Oh my goodness. Computers are awful. All computers are awful. Discord is awful. Everything is awful. Why can't I save this image? Weird. Okay, maybe I can just screenshot it. Yeah, I'll just screenshot it. Just so weird. Okay, there we go. Yep. So save that. Save to photos and then open it up in Procreate. insert photo, and then I'll show it on stream in a few more seconds. Let me just get this aligned and everything. Yeah, okay, cool, we're good to go, I think. Let me switch back. Chow bid live feed. Oh my goodness. This isn't even I've had so basically I'm now sleeping in a different area of the house, essentially the guest bedroom, because this bed is right next to the wall, as you can see. And I always have like weird night terrors and sometimes I hit the wall. So it's not great. I always suspected that Discord fished their server out of a canal somewhere. That's pretty good observation, probably. I mean, they did make it as a web app, right? So it feels like that's an apt comparison. All right, let's see here. So I have to do a Velt sprite, which is 27 to 28, correct? Top left, right bleed available. See pages for space. So it's a vaguely humanoid, heavily muscled creature with long matted fur, wicked 8-inch claws, and an antlered stag skull with smoking eye sockets for a head. Nice. Okay. All right. I think I have an idea of like what to do with this already. Um. All right. So I think the style that they want. I think they're open to any kind of styles, but I'm gonna keep it consistent as I can. But if we're going to go with essentially a Wendigo, right? I mean, it sounds to me like a Wendigo. Let me search up an image of a Wendigo. Yeah, like a classic kind of like Wendigo. Um, they do say you can make it your own. The antlers don't have to be normal, add features, etc. Play around and fill up the space. I'm open to specific content. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a very quick kind of sketch. This is generally how I start these kind of things. Like this is also how I started the drawing you just saw, right? I kind of just do a overall compositional sketch first. Um, and then I kind of go from there. But I'm trying to figure out, in this case, right, I'm using a specific space here. So I'm thinking what might be cool is if the arms kind of went out like that, right? And then it came out like this way here, kind of like that. And then like the antlers kind of popped out like that. This is the nice thing about like doing it digitally. You can always resize stuff to fit. Um, which is actually the main benefit that I have using digital stuff. I don't really, I mean, I do use the undo features sometimes, but um, not as often as most people do. So most of the thing is that I don't waste paper. That's the main upside of using digital for me. But also because I don't use paper, I am a lot more free with it because I'm like, it doesn't matter if I mess it up because I wouldn't have wasted anything really other than time. What does Wicked Claws mean to you? That's a good question actually. That's a good kind of thing to ask. Um, let's see here. It has to be 8-inch claws, but I think what I'm gonna do is, well, firstly the antlers, I'm gonna kind of like do something like that just to get a general kind of vibe for how I'm gonna fill it in. Something like that. But the hands, you're right, like the hands should be kind of a major part of it. So what I might do, what I'm thinking of doing at least, is let me erase this inks. Okay, what I'm thinking of doing, let me get a bigger brush here. Here you go. Alright. So what I'm thinking of doing is like essentially having it kind of like that, and then having it kind of coming out towards the viewer, and then kind of doing something like that, right? I think this could be cool, especially if I can fit it in the space provided, which I can, I think. I just need to be able to like make the other arm kind of do the same thing as well. Maybe like it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like in this more dynamic pose, right? Like that. I think also the hit. The problem right now to me is the hit because it's kind of a bit boring in terms of the posing. So I think this is good for the body, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this, and then I'm gonna try to work in various hits. I think kind of like the idea of it leaning forwards actually, like that. Maybe like that, and then maybe the chest will have to move as a result. So like something like this. Okay. Not the biggest fan of that. Let me try to scale this down a little bit. Yeah, I'm just trying to get like a dynamic composition given what we got. So what we might do is actually we might rotate it a little bit. And then kind of go like that, alright? Wendigos are my favorite monster from the horror genre. Oh yeah, they're fantastic. I mean, I think the shape design of a Wendigo, right? Because essentially, if you think about it, Wendigo is essentially a triangle, and then you got these kind of things kind of pointing towards the head, and then you got the rest of the body normally is kind of like hunched over as well, which gives it a very interesting posture. So just from a shape, language, design, whatever you want to call it, a kind of like way of thinking about it, they are already really cool. But then like kind of add in the other aspects of them, the fact that they are just naturally very kind of creepy but also badass looking, and you kind of got a recipe for a cool monster. Literally means cannibal monster. I actually did not know that. That's neat. Um, yeah, so like obviously at this stage everything is going to look like shit. But that does not matter. At this stage it's mostly just like trying to figure out where I'm gonna put stuff, you know, like where I'm gonna essentially put all the details. I think something like this could work, honestly. And I got a little bit of space here, so what I might do is I might fade it out into black, right? Like, I might do like a little bit of a cloak here, kind of like that. Especially since I got a bit of like creative license here. I might do a bit of like some maybe ragtag. Since it's like cannibal, right? I'm thinking like patch together stuff. Like kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Is that the right thing? Yeah. Like that movie, right? Where the guy Leatherface, I believe. Um Something where it's like patched up skin. Kind of like surrounding this area here. Alright. I'm also gonna have to look at the oh let me see. I missed some messages actually. Maybe the hit pushes out in a sort of anime perspective. Superhero perspective. Ooh, okay. I can kind of dig that. Um, yeah. Let me think about this because I kind of actually wanted kind of hunched over even more. So what I might do actually is I might put it down low like that, and then like that. Yeah, that actually speaks to me quite a bit more. I kind of like that a lot. So that will necessitate them kind of like looking downwards, right? So it's like kind of something like that. And then the shadows can kind of like be a... So the thing is, I just said about how they have a triangle for a head, right? Pyramid head. But you know, like you know what I mean. So you can kind of accentuate that further by having all of the other elements in the body kind of pointing to that, especially the shadows. So if you look at the shadow here, it's essentially this shape, right? And I think if I essentially did something like this, right? And then I did this, it's like cupping the head, and that kind of brings attention more towards the head, if that makes sense at all. Gene stuff. Yeah, like that's I'm not sure if Ed Gein I'm aware that he's a serial killer, but I wasn't aware that he also did the leather patchwork stuff. We're talking about the same guy, right? I'm assuming. I believe the deal is you become one by willingly eating human flesh. Actually, that gives me an opportunity then. If that's the case, if that's the case, I want to do something a bit different. So I do think that like this isn't necessarily a Wendigo, but I do want to kind of like have some kind of hint as to like maybe some dripping stuff out of his maw or something like that, right? I think that would be interesting. Like something like this where it breaks up the silhouette as well. Yeah, like where the face underneath is maybe like fucked up or something else, right? Like maybe the tendons are kind of like ripping apart at the seams or something. Uh in any case, the bottom part here, at least around until around there, should be in shadow because we want to be able to make sure that the hand is nice and visible. Something like that. I think that's good. I think this is actually pretty good to start with. Um, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs was based on... Ah, yeah. That's the one. Uh, Man, I remember watching that when I was like way too young. That's fun. Fitz, I know the old werewolf myths of the Greeks had similar origins, with the cannibal king's corpse being turned into half-beasts. Makes sense. I mean, actually, I'm trying to think of like satyrs, right? Satyrs are not... I can't remember like which culture they came from, but they are a lot more like happy-go-lucky than the rest, even except for one part, which is their tendency to frolic in ways that if you know, you know, I guess. But you know, like they can be a bit inappropriate, but for the most part, they are pretty jolly. Ed Gein, I feel like I think Ed Gein was a actual serial killer, right? Let me look this up. I believe he was, but I might just be thinking of. Yeah, he was. Let's see. Yeah. So he used to like keep keepsakes from corpses. So that makes sense. Like that kind of stuff, like essentially is what we're doing here as well. I think like maybe we'll make it more obvious by having a bit of the skin flaps showing off. Something like that. I think that's kind of a good thing so far. However, his hands look like crab hands right now, which can be fixed. I mean, we're going to, it's just a sketch, but I do want to draw attention to the fingernails because I think they're a lot longer than I'm giving them credit for. I think what I might do is I might make them more gnarly like that. Maybe like kind of, yeah, maybe kind of like that, right? Kind of like, yeah, like make them like almost disconnected in a certain way. I think that makes them look very strange, almost like weird clippers, I guess. Uh, yeah. So what I might do actually is I might actually have them flay out like that. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, that's cool. This is so fun to do. I really love um making monsters like this. Okay, this one is... I do kind of like that this forearm looks like it's too short. What I might do is I might kind of work that into the other illustration, or the other arm, the illustration of the other arm here, where I'm gonna kind of cut in, right? Essentially looks like it's flayed flesh on the arms themselves, and they're kind of like mutating into these claws. Yo, I almost said your real name. Hi HP. Hello. Said your almost said your full real name for some reason. I don't know why. Like when I saw your username, like the first thing I thought was like your full real name, and I almost like just said it out loud. So that's something. Yeah, live drawing. We're doing a commission at the moment. How are you doing? Uh, it's been a while. We're talking about serial killers, essentially. But I think this we could push it a bit more. We could push it a bit more. So I'm gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna erase the this right arm completely actually, because I think that we could make the pose a lot more interesting, and even if we can't, we already have a backup. So I'm gonna have, yeah, actually I'm think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like have the body kind of like this, right? There's gonna be light coming from the back, kind of like that, I guess, right? Rim lighting. So I'm gonna have that, but I'm also going to have, okay, so it kind of goes down like that. There's like a rib cage there. I'm going to try to make it so that the hand goes backwards, if that makes sense. Like it goes backwards and then it comes towards the front, like that. All right. I don't know if that works. Maybe I might have to make the illustration smaller or something for this to work, but something like this. Yeah, like that, where he's kind of like about to pierce into somebody, but not like it's just before he pierces the claws into somebody. So I'm thinking of like how to make it look like he's essentially making it into a spear, whereas the other hand is kind of flayed out. This one is kind of like one singular weapon. Same old work. Is it I don't know how much I'm allowed to essentially like dox you, but is it still a video game work? Because I was talking to okay, I'm okay with doxing this other person. I'm still talking to Zenson quite a bit. So we are probably going to be playing in a game fairly soon, actually, like a RPG game, RPG campaign in real life. It looks good. All right, but it's been a while since we talked or met or whatever. So for those who don't know, HP, who I keep almost saying their real name, is a old uni mate of mine. We went to a game development university where we did a lot of strange programming things, I'd say. It's a kind of university where they start you off with assembly. One, two, three, four. So maybe the thumb can be like this one down here. They did say to make it as strange as possible, so I kind of like the idea that this is essentially an ink quill, right? So I don't know if you guys have seen the glass quills. Like essentially it's like let me see if I can draw it out. Like that, right? And then you fill it in with ink and it kind of goes up this reservoir. It's essentially the same thing, but with a hand. And he's using it to siphon blood. I mean, that's my internal lore. The nice thing about working in RPGs for art is that you can generally talk to the writer and kind of like discuss and have a back and forth, where you can't really do that in a lot of different other kind of creative industries, including the tangential ones, like war games and stuff like that. I don't think they allow you as much like creative freedom per se. If you're doing like an illustration, if you're doing Kid Bash, that's a different thing. If you're doing an illustration, I don't think they allow you the same amount of freedom unless you're working with someone who is very permissive. I can think of a few people off the top of my head. But I've done some art for war games, and yeah, for those ones, like it was a bit more permissive because the specific war game I was working on was like, well, it was Forbidden Psalm. So for those familiar with that rule book, you can imagine that the art direction was fairly like you do whatever you think looks cool, which is great. But that is not the case for most kind of war game books, I feel. So RPG books though, you can kind of like go back and forth, which is something I really enjoy doing. And I really enjoy also like kind of putting in the work, kind of like reading the module ahead of time, or at least parts of it, so that I have an idea or a better idea of what I'm drawing. Okay, there you go. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the antlers. Yeah, I'm gonna make them kind of like veer off into the distance here, like that. All right, cool. I might do that for the left one here as well, just to make it consistent. So like something like that where, yeah, okay, I kind of like this composition. Uh, it looks unique. It doesn't just look like Wendigo. I'm going to make sure though. Uh, do your best Nor impression. No, no, no. Actually, specifically, they wanted each artist to kind of bring their own vision to the table. If you look through the Forbidden Psalm, specifically if you look through the End Times edition, you can see that the art styles are varied as hell. Like there's a lot of different art styles in there, and it's really fantastic in that way. Uh, so Will doesn't always do things like that. I think, like for example, for what was it? For the recent war game that he did, where he had Vil as an artist, right? Vil was the only artist, I think, for the entirety of that. So there's some projects which he is a lot more cohesive with, and it depends on what the actual subject matter is. But for Forbidden Psalm, I feel it fits because of the very much well, all his games feel DIY, but Forbidden Psalm is kind of the progenitor of all that, right? It's crazy, but can it be even crazier? Yeah, I was very honored to be the person who drew the only I think at this point the only kind of visual representation of the Mad Wizard Verprix. And I was like, oh, I get to draw the Mad Wizard, and he's like, yeah, you get to draw one eye as he's looking through a doorway. So I got to draw his eye, and I think that's the only visual representation of Viprix that's official at the moment, which is kind of funny. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make the spinal cord a bit sharper. I always kind of like it when I can add in small details like that. So it's kind of like a cavity there. Gonna make that a bit less obvious, hopefully. So like that. All right. I think we're good to go. Let's see. Yep, I'm going to draw over this, but I want to make sure that there isn't anything left that I haven't really spotted. And I'm gonna also look through the actual initial like you know the Veld Sprite is a major enemy of the dungeon. One encountered throughout and always terrifying. Description: a vaguely humanoid, heavily muscled creature. Okay, good check. With long matted fur. Okay, that's good. I checked that. Because Wendigos also have fur, but for some reason I didn't bring that to the forefront here. It's always good to double check your work. Long matted fur. Wicked 8-inch claws. Check. Antlered stacked skull with smoking eye sockets. Alright, I think that's kind of like, I mean, we didn't miss out much, but I think if the floating eye sockets, not floating, smoking eye sockets is a thing, I might actually use that to do a specific kind of composition. Because what I'm thinking is about him appearing from a door, right? Like something like that, right? Where this entire part here, this part is all black, and like this entire part here, all this is black until around here, right? Something like that. So like this entire part here is black, this entire part here is black, like that. And I think that will look pretty fucking cool, but also it will allow me to do this. Which I can then accentuate by doing that. Alright, there you go. So let's see if that works. Okay, what else? Skull-headed Wendigo is the inspiration here. Make it your own. Add features, play around, fill up the space, open specific content. And this is the correct layout for it. I'm just gonna confirm that. The shape you drew will be for the Veld Sprite, because I actually messed up the... I actually did mess up the initial because initially I drew something else here as a sketch. Thankfully, it wasn't not like anything where it was a finished illustration. Can't speak today. Okay, cool. It seems like we're all set to go. Let me look at the chat. This is looking good. Do gotta hop off? Yeah, no worries. Do take care. Semi-occupied with work. Sorry if I don't respond if you're talking to me. No worries at all. I'm also just chilling. I'm doing work as well, right? So, yo, get off there. Doesn't really seem very Plague Oozy to me. Uh, this is not an ooze plague. The description is actually down here, but yeah, this is just the like kind of the space that I'm allowed to work in, which is why I have it on a different layer. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to export this entire section here. Question, one of your previous lives had a Tachikoma thumbnail but no Tachikoma in the actual video. Did I get clickbaited? Yes, you did get clickbaited because that Tachikoma illustration was something that I did for my friend, who is actually also a game dev, who plays well in a card game tournament, and he loves Tachikomas. So I was like, I'll draw one so that I can show him that I appreciate him and stuff like that. But when I had to make a thumbnail for the live event, I was like, what the fuck do I even place here? I hate this part of going live. Because every time you do it, like if you're doing a Twitch stream, right, you don't have to put in a fucking thumbnail image. But for YouTube, you do. So I just grabbed the random image off of my yeah, you got clickbaited, is what I'm saying. Alright, cool. We are done with the sketch. I'm going to actually import it into, I don't know if I want to finish it in here or in Photoshop. I'm gonna polish it up in Photoshop actually, because I kind of want to paint this more than I want to ink it. Because if I'm painting something, I would rather do it in Photoshop. If I want to ink it, I'd rather do it on like a surface that I can actually see the thing. I think I want to paint it more because I want to have some texture in there. Yeah. So I'm gonna export this. I'm gonna switch to my webcam for just a bit so that I can do that. Give me 1 second, please bear with me. Save to, here we go, save image. Oh my god, the new iPad goddamn OS is driving me insane. Not because it's bad. I mean, it's probably bad. I don't know. I haven't used it for long. But because I'm not used to it. Alright, there we go. Import. And okay. Let's see. I'm gonna bring it over to Photoshop so that we can actually work on it here. And I am going to import it in real quick. Also, I cannot show Photoshop at the moment because my recent files include a commission that involves having a huge dick and balls and also a vagina. So I can't show that on YouTube. So I'm going to open up the file before I show Photoshop. Here we go. Okay, good. And in case you're curious, that commission that I just mentioned is actually for Glaive issue 3. I am making a creature generator. And I was like, body part wise, I'm kind of running out of ideas. So I just asked CJ, I was like, hey, can I just put can I just put like the entire bottom row is just like private parts? And he's like, yeah. So we're doing that. All right, cool. Let's work on this. Let's see. Hopefully I have it set up correctly. If I switch to this, yep, cool. All right, nice. Let me bring chat over to here. Yeah, okay, cool. So, yeah. Hopefully you can see the Photoshop right now. I'm going to just set this to essentially a lower opacity. I'm gonna work over this. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start using, I'm gonna start with just using a regular brush. But I'm gonna graduate from that pretty soon to something a bit more textured. And the way I'm gonna do this is that at the very end, I'm going to set it through like the classic kind of Xerox filter that I use for a lot of my art. Actually, I might not start off with a pen because I kind of already know where I'm going with this. So I might go with let's see. Not this. Let's see. How about this? No. I think I'm gonna use this, which I'm fairly familiar with. This is like a hairy kind of brush. We're gonna use this like here, essentially. Actually, I'm gonna just start painting it in. And the idea here is that I'm gonna paint it in this specific style, but it wouldn't matter as much because later on I'm actually going to amalgamate everything by using the Xerox filter, which I use if I'm working on a project where I need a specific stylistic constraint. I will either use something like that or something like a gradient map or something where it keeps everything in the same overall style, even if I use a different medium. Let's say I use a pencil or I use like actual analog watercolors. So even if I use any of those, the end processing should make it so that it looks like the same, an image from the same kind of book. And I think that kind of consistency is quite important if you're doing specific client work, but also for personal project work, where you're like trying to make a universe or something. It is something that I'm ignoring completely for Bear Witness, the world building project I'm doing right now. That one I am giving myself personal license because it's just for fun. I'm gonna give myself permission to do whatever the hell I want. So I'm gonna be messing with mediums for that. I'm gonna be drawing using all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna be using pencil. I'm gonna be using pens. I'm gonna be using ink, charcoal, watercolors. You know, anything that works. Anything can leave a mark. I'm also gonna be switching between black and white and like color quite frequently for that as well. So we'll see how that goes. But that's essentially a huge experiment, not just in terms of the format, but also how I'm actually doing the drawing. So yeah, we'll just see how that goes. Alright. Yeah, we'll kind of do an initial pass after this, where we pass it through the Xerox filter right after I do this arm, essentially. I'm gonna lose a bit of that texture. Actually, I'm gonna lose most of that texture, but that's what I want. In this case anyway. Which is why I'm not too worried about making it completely a tight render or anything like that. I'm not trying to make it seem super realistic because I'm gonna have to go in again anyway and kind of like adjust a lot of this. So I'm just going to block it in fairly quickly. And then I'm gonna go from there and add in using like the hard round brush or whatever on top. But for now, I'm just going to do something like that. I kind of like how it looks actually, like this kind of hairy brush style. And some of that might get lost when I do the Xeroxing. I'm actually gonna show that right now so that people don't get too confused about what I'm gonna do. Here we go. I'm gonna remove this layer. And then I'm going to... So there's this essentially process where I can turn it into something like this. And obviously that's too dark. So I can open up the smart object and put it in levels. And then I can make it a lot lighter. And then that will basically portray some more of the texture. But the good thing about this is that if I then go into here, right, like, let me bring this back. If I then went into here and I use something like a pencil brush or something like that, or I use a completely different brush, let's say I use something like that, right, this kind of looks out of place a little bit, but, well, I need to... You can kind of see it. I didn't deactivate this layer, but you can kind of see that like it amalgamates them into the same kind of brush stroke. So it's quite useful in that manner. So I'm going to use it for a bunch of stuff here. And then once I'm happy with the overall shape, then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna use like an actual, I'm gonna go in over top of this image. I'm gonna use like pens and like hard round brushes and stuff like that to make it look more like an organic ink image. What I also tend to do is I tend to print it out and actually use like paints on top of that printed image, or you know, like ballpoint pen or whatever, because I find that that gives a nicer finish to the work as well. Something I actually learned from manga artists. So there's this series called Manben, um, which is run by the guy who wrote Monster, the manga, and it covers essentially how a lot of different manga creators do their processes. It's a very fascinating kind of look into it. But there is this one artist in particular who I don't even really read a lot of his manga. But this artist is called Tsutomu Takahashi, I think. So if you look at that episode, he combines a lot of analog and he combines a lot of techniques from both analog and digital, and that inspired me quite a bit. That made me start thinking about like where I can essentially like combine different workflows, stuff like that. Take some of the best parts of one and kind of combine it into the other. Like you can see here, for example, like this part does not look that good, but it will all kind of like level out in the end. And that's something I quite enjoy about this process. Um, it's also like I can just use pencil as well, and I can just darken it, and I can make it look like ink. So something that I find really useful. Already looking beautifully dark and evil. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like I want to get a lot of like motion into this particular image, and it's kind of hard to do that directly with ink, right? Unless you use a lot of hatching lines, which I'm gonna do at the very end. But just like in terms of the shape design, it's easier for me to do that by painting it in, just from experience, I guess. Like I'm just used to like painting uh, in the stroke of the form. So we're gonna try to do that. Here we go. All right. We're also gonna make sure that more of the detail is kind of like represented in the final illustration. The way we're gonna do that is later on, like at the end of this process, we're gonna increase the file size of the, or increase the resolution rather, of the document. But that's for later. But if you notice right now, like if I save this and I go back to the initial document, like let me do that right now. I do this, for example, and then I go back to the original document. There is not a lot of information that's captured. So the way you fix that is you basically just up the resolution, and uh, it will look a little bit better. And in any case, I'm using 300 DPI at the moment, and I like to work at 600 DPI. So it makes sense to do that anyways. Well, actually, no, that's not completely true. I kind of work I kind of like swap in between like 300 and 600. Depends on the project, right? Um, all right, cool. But generally, for anything print, you want it at least at 300 DPI. It's a pretty safe bet that you're gonna get okay results if you do that. I'm gonna change up the brush a little bit. So let's go something like that. Here as well, like that. Yeah, cool. I'm going to just do. I'm just gonna bring it up there just to see where it ends, and around here, around there, and around there. Okay, cool. So I know my boundaries there. So I'm gonna try to kind of amplify the fur aspect of it. Deactivate that. Select this. I need it to be a bit more texture than that, so something like that would work. All right, cool. Maybe a bit more. All right, that's good. Let's bring that back in. Take the white, and then we're going to just sweep it out like that. And this is what I mean when I say that like it's a lot easier for me to do this with like more painterly program like Photoshop, or you know, like any like desktop program where I can adjust the opacity much faster and the brush size a lot faster. Hmm. So I use Clip Studio Paint for painting, but I still find that I keep going back to Photoshop just because I'm just used to it, right? I've been using it since I was in uh primary school, I want to say. Yeah, primary school. I got like the initial. I got my first copy of Photoshop when I was like 9 or 10 or something. Uh, let's see. I'll need to drop off and get some sleep before work. No worries at all. Um, really nice catching you live for once. Good night. You have a good night. You have a good night's rest. Speaking of good night's rest, I've actually been getting some sleep recently, which is good. Been getting a lot less nightmares, which I've mentioned this in the past. For those who don't know, I deal with a lot of night terrors on a pretty regular basis, and that means I have pretty inconsistent sleep, even though I don't really have trouble getting to sleep. The problem doesn't seem to be like getting to sleep. It's like the problem seems to be not having nightmares during the sleep. But recently that hasn't been as much of a problem, so I kind of welcome that. Let's see. That looks good, I think, like this overlap here. And yo, cat, what's up? Chill sleep time. Yeah, is pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. I think that yeah, I think this is good to go. By the way, Kat, are you for the project formerly known as El Boca di Lupo? The project. Why do I have such difficulty saying that out? But for the project previously known as that, um, how many illustrations do you need actually? Because I'm starting to finish up on a bunch of stuff. I could do them in this stream after this particular illustration. Because I kind of am finishing up on this and I wanted like kind of a bit of a palette cleanser before I moved on to the next thing. So I was wondering whether you need any particular illustrations for that, because I remember. So for those who aren't aware, that's like an RPG that me and Kat were working on, a mobster based RPG, which is pretty fucked up. I did a bunch of art for it, whole bunch of art, and it's nearly done, I think. So the thing is, because of my illness and the amount of commissions that I've been doing, I kind of said that I couldn't work on more art for it, but today I can probably do a few. So, Kat, if you have anything you want me to draw, and if it's just like a few illustrations left, then I might be able to swing that today. Let's see. Just let me know. And if not, it's also completely fine, obviously. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at some reference here. Also, I'm sorry for the constant zooming in and out. It's something that I'm very accustomed to because I like to see my art from various angles. But I realize that when I'm like recording it or I'm speeding things up in a time lapse or whatever, it looks like it looks fucking confusing. It looks like seizure inducing, right? So I apologize for that in advance. All right, that looks good. Okay. we'll just do this part here. Yes. If you give me some specifics, I can work with that. You can just DM them to me, like you can DM them to me and then tell me in the stream chat that you DM them to me, and then I'll open it up. But I would want to know beforehand though, how many illustrations are we talking? Because I might be able to. Right now I'm like in a painting kind of mood. That's the right word. I'm in a painting kind of mood. So I think I can do the art style that we use for El Boca di Lupo, because the brush that I'm using right now is literally, quite literally the same brush, the exact same brush that I use for that, for the illustrations for that. So, you know. All right. Okay, okay, this looks really weird. Like the knuckles, I thought would kind of work, but I think I have to just do it like this. A nice thing about being able to paint out stuff is that you can do stuff like that, where it's kind of veiny and kind of just following the contours, something like that. Yeah, that looks good to me. So I'm just going to fill out these areas here, sharpen them up a little bit, give them a bit of a trim, and then like that. Yeah, like that. Okay, cool. I don't think we're gonna do the Ed Gein thing of like having stitched skin, but I think that'll detract too much away from the original composition, which is quite strong at this point. So we're just going to we're just gonna do box standard Wendigo, which should still be a good time. Well, not really box standard Wendigo. I mean, it does have the very strange claws, so something new there. Your antler friend looks good. Thank you, appreciate that. This one is for oh yeah, I should have mentioned from the start who this is for. This is for Duck and Crow Press. This is for their book that they just announced. So I actually wasn't sure of the name of the book until very recently. I'm actually gonna search it up to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn here and I can actually reveal what it is. Yes, okay, and He Shall Eat the Sun is essentially the name of this book that I'm working on. Yeah, I'm allowed to essentially say it because it's been publicly revealed. Because I was told, essentially, to not show certain stuff until the Kickstarter went up, or like the, you know, the Becker kit. I don't know what you're using, but that has already gone up, so I'm assuming that it's okay. There you go. Cool. All right. Nice. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think, Kat, I'm just gonna check our DMs just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Yes, I see that. All right. All right, here you go. Yes. Okay, this looks really good. I really like what I don't know. It's always surprising to me how well it works. There are some things that obviously don't work as well because just of the nature of the way I'm like destroying the image. Destroying the image is essentially destroying the image, right? It's kind of like breaking it down into lesser values. It's kind of changing it up quite a bit. Yeah, it's essentially destroying the image, but not in a bad way. But I'm always surprised how well it works for the most part. Like there are a few things here and there that I have to tweak, but not that much. So I'll just do a levels adjustment, make it lighter, and then I'll start like using a pen, like a regular pen, to kind of add in the actual adjustments that I want to do. So I'm gonna do a new layer on top of all this. I'm gonna select the round brush. I'm gonna start doing actual like fine-tuned inks on this. All right, there you go. Cool. All right. Think this works. The only thing I need to do is I kind of like need to flip it a little bit from time to time, make sure that it works on both the flip version and the regular version, because I tend to find that when you flip the image, you're almost looking at a new image. At least for me, you're looking at it from a different perspective. Usually I am not too far off, so in this case I was not too far off, thankfully. I think though that this part should probably be a bit further away. Yeah, something like that. Can't stay, but just wanted to say that I love your work. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me, genuinely speaking. Like, like I really appreciate it when people say that. It's just very nice. I thank you for hopping in. Project Dirge, is that how you say it? Yeah, thank you for hopping in. Let's see here. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I think, is we're gonna try to separate this out a little bit. We'll do like something like that, and then we'll do a smoke kind of thing, and then once I get this done, we'll work a little bit on the thing that me and Kat were just talking about. But the smoke is gonna be a bit tricky actually, because the back part here is, yeah, this is gonna be a bit tricky. So I might actually do something like this, right? And I might not even do the smoke. I might just make it like, oh well, we'll see. But like I might not do the smoke. Because I don't think it's needed actually. I don't think it also adds to the composition that much. We'll just save it and see how it looks, but okay, I'm wrong. It looks pretty cool actually. It I think it kind of is worth it, but I think in order to make it work, I do have to adjust it quite a bit. So I'm gonna have to like add in certain hard edges here and there just to make sure it's obvious that there's a smoke trail. Um, okay, there we go. All right, cool. So like something like this, and then I hope that's not messing with the composition too much, but should be good to go. Okay, there you go. Yeah, maybe I should do black smoke. That's actually a good point, but I'm not sure whether I can make it work because it'll look like kind of. My worry is will look like vines that are pulling at it because it's just gonna be black and white, right? Like in this instance, like since we're looking at it, like in grayscale instead of like just purely black and white, I think it works. Like that. That looks like that looks like smoke to me, but I'm not sure if it will work if I process the image. Let me try it. Maybe it will work. Maybe I could. See, I'm not sure about that now. But it kind of breaks the tool out too much. So I might. Let me try both. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think the smoke in general is worth it. The brief did say like smoky eyes, but they didn't say smoky eyes to the top here. So I am going to actually undo that, and I'm going to add in a bit more fur here. But I'm gonna do that, and I'm going to kind of like have the smoldering just be inside the eyes only, like that. That looks good. I think. Yeah, that works. So, yeah, I kind of also like the grayish kind of texture we got in the background, although we don't want too much of it because the thing is, like, if you're using something like this, right, it's gonna look like a Xerox image, which we don't want. We still want it to look like pen and ink illustration. So I don't want too much. I don't want too much of that. I'm going to add another levels adjustment, and I'm going to, let's see here, darken everything down, but I'm gonna increase the most bright areas. Okay, that's good. I think that's essentially where we want to be at. I'm going to add in a little bit of, kind of just a little bit of contrast near the spear hand thing. And I'm also going to like add in a thumb there because I think that will make it read more as a hand. Alright, there you go. Okay, let's see here. So I'm gonna use maybe a pencil brush. Yeah, let's use like a pencil brush. And kind of like just work in some areas here. And then I'll essentially darken everything down a little bit afterwards. I actually don't use this process that much. Like what I tend to do is once I'm done, like with the initial conversion, like once I'm done at this point, I stop working on it because usually it's good enough. But I think for this particular piece and for what I'm using it, I'm not using it for anything. What a client is using it for, I feel like it will make much more sense to kind of draw over it in this kind of like pen. I'm gonna have to, yeah, I'm gonna have to go around the whole illustration just to make sure that that looks natural, but I do like the depth that that brings to this. Also, I'm going to do, I'm gonna up the resolution a bit so that we can capture a bit more detail. Here we go. Alright, that's good. So, as you can see here, it like looks quite different. Because a lot more of the smaller details, like the smaller textures, not really details, the smaller like textures kind of like brought out. I'm gonna like actually remove the eyeballs and kind of add them here. What we could do actually, now that I think about it, I was just saying how the main issue was that we were looking at it in grayscale, right? And in grayscale we could do the smoke, but in this kind of like black and white thing, we can't really do the smoke as well. I kind of can put in a bit of it here, so I'm gonna try doing the black smoke thing. What you recommended, because I think it makes sense. Maybe? Let me try using a different brush. Yeah, like maybe like that. This is kind of tough, but like something like that. Looks phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, I think that... and then after this, I'll work on the... By the way, Kat, are you okay with the illustrations being a bit less painterly, or do you want it to just all be painterly? I'm okay with both. But I think all the illustrations so far are... Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe all the illustrations so far are done in that like painterly style. Are they? Not all of them actually. There are some that were done with like paints, real life paints, and I was using yeah, not all of them were done in that same like brush, digital brush kind of style. So I'll still keep it like a painting, but like I might adjust like the brush usage a little bit, just giving a heads up. It will still look the same, like it will still look amalgamated, but Yeah. How far do you think like the general zine is to completion? Would you say like percentage wise? A few are scanned, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, those ones I think are my favorite actually. Those ones were I really like how those ones turn out. Those I think are like some of my favorite illustrations I've ever done actually. Uh so good. Alright. Yo, I should do this process more often, like this process of essentially like drawing over the process image. Like like I said, this kind of like something new that I'm trying out because usually I stop when I process the image and I just make adjustments to the thing underneath so that the process image will turn out differently. But I don't know, I'm really liking how this process makes it look like there's a lot more depth to it, even though it's oh yeah, I guess I'm using different layers, different amounts of like layers and different techniques, so there is innate depth to that already. Just something I didn't really consider doing until like this image, I guess. Like you can see how the hatching over here kind of makes it look like a traditional ink image, but the overall kind of like painting style of it makes it have a very strong like visual language, and that's something I feel like I can do for other illustrations. Maybe even for the rest of the illustrations for this same book. All right, hell yeah. Okay, get for GSD. I'm for get shit done. So I should give some context to everybody else who's watching the stream either on the like right now or afterwards, like in the archive video. But me and Kat are essentially in a server where we have this thing where we do called get shit done week or day. It depends. But essentially we hunker down and we just get something finished. Not finished, but like we get stuff done. Not necessarily finished. I shouldn't say that. So it's just like kind of a Discord for writers and creators and artists and stuff like that. So there is this kind of push to finish some of your stuff, you know? And particular I'm using that particular get shit done week to actually finish off Chaos Crawl issue 2 because I have 2 pages left. But right now I'm too busy in terms of the workload that I have for my commissions to even think about like releasing a personal project like that. But by the time Get Shit Done week occurs, should be in a position to be able to do it. So that's the goal. Yo, thank you, Agnes. Sorry if like the mic quality is dropping in and out because I'm moving my face. Not in my usual, not in my usual working environment. At least not for analog art, since I'm using Photoshop and all that. How are you doing today? Oh, I haven't saved my image yet. What the? I haven't saved my image. I have not saved. Wait, give me a second. Shit. I have not saved my image in the entire time that I've been working on it. I need to get better about that. That's the one art habit that I have that's really, really bad. I never save my work, and I always purposely also throw away a lot of my work that I do as sketches. Because the reason I don't save my work more often is just cause like I'm very much used to like just doing a sketch in Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint or whatever the case may be, and then just deleting the whole canvas, like just erasing the file. Um, it's not good. Don't do that. Sorry, I missed a bunch of messages because I just got like sidetracked there. I'm excited about Chaos Crawl. Yeah, I am too. I am too. Like I think for Chaos Crawl issue 2, the dungeons are I think actually better than the first one. I think anyway, like I might be wrong. But I feel like Specifically, one of the dungeons is one of the best dungeons I've ever made. Like, it's called A Feast to Plunder, and I think it has some really good stuff in it. So, pretty excited. Pretty excited. I finished up all of it already, like the writing, the layout, artwork, everything is done. I just have 2 more pages to fill up. So I'm probably gonna get that done on stream because I'm kind of getting my mojo back in terms of working on stream and stuff. So yeah, that's the goal. Like get it done on stream and then get it done during get shit done week if the plan holds. Which it should, I think. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. The only thing I can maybe foresee is maybe my commissions might get too busy during that time period and I can't do it. But if that really happens, then yeah, my commissions are gonna take priority over like the zine that I'm making on my own. Yep, yeah, no worries. I will essentially I'm going to start working on the illustrations that you mentioned right now actually. So I'm going to do them. Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 of them now. I'm gonna do them pretty quickly, but I'm trying to think which ones I want to do. Like, there's quite a few options there. I'm trying to think about which one I want to do as I'm finishing off this illustration. But so Kat sent me a bunch of essentially drawings that I could put that I could do that we could put inside the book. And I was looking through them, and I think the idea of like drawing gangsters with Tommy guns is really appealing, and the female detective. Those 2 are the ones that kind of like stand out to me. Because I'm very interested in whether I can use this kind of rough and ready art style, like the not this art style, the one where I'm using the hairy brush and I'm doing all the painterly stuff. Whether I can use that to depict like a more feminine form easily or a softer form easily, even though they're not like they're a hard detective, but like you know what I mean, like making it obvious that it looks female, I'm not sure if I can pull off, which is why I'm excited to try it. I think I should be able to do it. I actually don't know, because like most of the time when I'm using that technique, right, when I'm using that particular brush, I'm actually working usually with monsters. Either monsters or like rough guys. So I'm curious. Alright, I think this is done. I think this is done. One last thing I'm gonna do actually before I call it done is I'm gonna try to blend this out a bit because this is kind of a hard edge here. The class stuff, how many classes are you thinking for the playbooks actually? Like, because I don't think I'll be able to contribute all of the stuff to it. I have done a bunch of illustrations for it at this point, but right now, and I do want to like finish up what we essentially started. But unfortunately, right now, I'm like strapped for, not strapped, what's the term? The term is like I'm like drowning in commissions, I guess. So, and I want to be able to finish them in a timely manner. And I also have like a bunch of, whatchamacallit, the kiosk crawl and all that. So, that's the thing though, like I do want to like at least finish up most of the stuff. And I've done... Actually, let me see. I'm not sure how many illustrations I ended up doing for El Boca di Lupo. There's a lot. I just searched it. I hope I'm not showing my desktop. Am I? Wait. Am I showing my desktop? Please God, no. Okay, I'm not. Okay, thank goodness. Okay, I've done... There's a lot of illustrations. Holy shit. I've done the cover. I've done... No, there's quite a few. Yeah, no, like I remember like we were talking about the initial story of that, like the short story that you wrote that I was basing the images off of. And I remember we thought about the same actor. Like we thought of the same actor playing the same part in the story, which is how you know that our brains were synced up, you know? Yeah, there are seven. I also counted seven. Okay, I think we're done with this. I am going to start on the. Oh wait! Shit! I keep finding stuff when I zoom out. I didn't gradate out this part. It needs to be gradated out. Damn! I really like how this looks. All right, save. Okay. Gotta flip this, and then after I flip this, we are going to switch gears and draw some gangsters. So I'm gonna close this. Not showing my recent files because, like I said, there's a cock and balls there. It actually flashed for a brief second, so you might have caught it. Good on you if you did, but I don't think YouTube is gonna execute me for half a second of cock and balls. So I'm gonna, let's see. Which one am I gonna draw first, I guess? I guess we'll start with the easier one. It did not. I'm going to... I'm gonna do the Tommy Gun one first. Yep. Let's see. Tommy Gun Gangsta. Gangsta. Oh shit, these are some pretty good. I kind of want to draw, have one like kind of like lifting it up and like he looks really cool doing it. Like his hand is in his pocket kind of thing. I'm looking at the reference imagery right now, but I'm not gonna follow it to the T, obviously. But I will follow the overall form of it. So yeah, like that is like essentially the like that, and then so I think I've mentioned this to you, Kat, in the past, but not to anybody else watching the stream, so I'll repeat it. The trick to doing this kind of illustration, where you're doing like a very sketchy looking thing, right? But you want it to look sketchy at the end, is to do as few brush strokes as possible. So you want to be able to depict the gun, which I'm doing here, in as few brush strokes as possible. Like consider how many brush strokes you really need to kind of communicate the fact that it's a gun, right? That's the official term for that is brush economy. And obviously it doesn't look like a gun right now. That will soon change. I think yeah, so this is gonna be the hand. And then yeah, like that. So like that. I think, yeah, like this. I'm gonna cut this off. And then like that. Then like that. This is a bit tricky, but I like this process because it feels like kind of like I'm playing a puzzle game almost. So I'm trying to figure out how to depict something by just cutting out certain edges and stuff like that. So like that, I think. And then like that. Yeah. So I'm gonna like that. And I'm gonna come in from here and cut off this part. And then around there. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at the chat real quick. Yo, Lance, what's up? Oh, you have work in an hour. How's your illustrative work coming along? The ones of the animals. Okay, I'm gonna do something like this. I think I'm gonna have his hand in his pockets. Something like that. And then I'm gonna have him kind of like... So the image that I have referenced here... In the image that I have referenced here, he is way more... How shall we say it? He is way more upright, I guess. what I really want to depict is someone who's like kind of like leaning down, smoking a cigarette. So I don't want him to look so, I guess like casual. Oh no, I want him to look more casual is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So like that, then like that. And then essentially, this is a bit tricky because I'm deviating quite a bit from the, I'm gonna actually draw a loop there. I'm actually deviating quite a bit from the imagery that I'm seeing. So it's a bit tough, but yeah, thereabouts. So like something like that. And then like that. Yeah, I really like this because as in, I really like this painting process. I don't really like this illustration. I mean, the illustration's fine, but I really like this painting process because it is so different from what I normally do. Like, it's so much consideration for things that I would normally not care about at all. Okay, I might have to... Yeah, I might have to, size down the head, or like, adjust the size in any case. But... let's see... something like that, yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. That's no problem. We're working digitally, so we can cheat. Something like that will be good. And then we'll do the rest of the hat. Cool, right that. Alright, let's see. 7:20 a.m. here. Oh man. Uh haven't worked on them since Friday. I can send you pics after stream. Yeah, please do. Send them off to me. I will love to see them. I can give you some critique if you want as well. If I am in a condition to after the stream. I think I'm gonna have him kind of smirking. And then like so. Gonna do okay, that looks kind of off actually. I think I know why though. Yeah, I know why. So this whole section here is a bit... this is a kind of problem when you're working with like just general shapes. It's very hard to, unless you drew in, unless you started with, I guess, drawing, it's very hard to retrofit in the anatomy. So I only kind of recommend this if you're used to doing this kind of stuff, you know? If you're used to like painting and so on, and being able to like form the anatomy just from a few brush strokes. It's a bit easier for the face just because I have a lot of experience with doing this for faces. So I don't feel like I'll have much issue with that. Like so. I'm gonna... think he still looks a bit too... there we go, okay. I think that's good. I'm going to have him kind of like leaning, like that, right? Like kind of like looking down a bit. Like pushing his chin down. Like he's a boxer, trying not to get hit, you know? There we go. Alright. Get a bit of those muscles in there in terms of the facial muscles. And then I think I might do... let me see if this works. I don't know if this will work. But I might do a hint of like an expression here. Might not work. But I want him to be like looking kinda confident, I guess. And then I want to, yeah, think like maybe that's too much. Maybe I can, yeah, like that. So I think like maybe, yeah, okay, that's good. I kind of wanted it to have a bit of a smoky appearance to it as well. So that's nice. Alright, cool. I haven't saved this either. I'll Boca di Lupo, even though that's not the name of it anymore. Gangster holding Tommy gun. Save as, yep. I like that pointed white color. Yeah, I think the eyeline is a bit too much. I still like it though. I think the key thing, right, is to keep the eye kind of like as subtle as possible. Yeah, there you go. I kind of like I like that, right? Like I might actually go in and detail out the face a bit more because I think it's okay if I'm using like this kind of rough brush. It's kind of what I did for the previous illustrations. Now that I'm looking at them properly, I did kind of go into the face. I did like detail them out because like it's so important to get like a lot of the expression in. I think what I want him to look like is he's kind of very sure that he's gonna win this fight kind of thing. So I want him to like have very dark eyebrows. And I want him to like be maybe like smoking a cigarette, but like the cigarette isn't, how to say, like it's kind of drooping down, you know, like he doesn't even bother to like you can tell a lot about like how tense somebody is from how tense your jaw is. So I want to kind of like lift up the edges of his mouth a little bit, you know, like that. Like right now I think he looks too tense. I want him to be like, oh, this is just another gunfight kind of thing. I mean, maybe a bit of tension is good though. I'm not sure. Just kind of like, yeah. Okay, that's kind of perfect for that. As for the nose, yeah, this is us getting into the weeds a little bit here. Just trying to like get more of an idea of his face. I think I'm gonna, yeah, do something like that where I'm hinting at a bit of an eye, but I'm not actually showing that, like something like that. Then yeah, okay, that's good. All right. Okay. I'll do one more and then we're done for the day. Well, after I'm done with this one, because I'm not yet finished. I kind of want him to have a clean hairstyle as well. So like something like that. Yeah, okay, that's good. And then I want the top here to kind of be more clearly accentuated. And then also, I want the ammo. I don't think it's where the ammo is, but like usually there's like little, I don't know, like rivets somewhere on the gun. Doesn't really matter where. I just need a little bit something to indicate some kind of visual interest. And then I need to cut this part off. And here as well. I want to leave this part in though. Like I'm drawing that wrongly. This part in. I want to leave that part in. It indicates motion. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna just essentially finish up this section here. And then... Alright, cool. That didn't take too long at all. It scares me how quick you did this. Thank you, I appreciate that. I think like also maybe he needs to be leaning back a bit, I feel like that. If he isn't leaning back, doesn't show how much swagger he has, you know? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay, that's perfect. That's like that lean is essentially what makes the pose, I think. Yeah, okay, there we go. Like, he's just kind of like leaning back after he shot the gun, maybe, or something like that. Maybe like that. Alright, cool. Barrel smoke. That's such a good idea, though. Barrel smoke. I don't know, because I really like the idea of like him being in a smoky kind of environment. I also like the idea like he just shot a bunch of guys and he's okay, I'm gonna do a barrel smoke, but the way I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like have it very subtle. So I'm gonna actually create a new layer, which I usually don't do for this method. I'm gonna try it. I want to like put a bit of smoke throughout. Just like wisps of it. That might be a bit too much. So I'm gonna like remove it where it's too much, but I want to essentially like hint at the fact that he's in a combat zone kind of thing. I think that's just enough actually. Like that and that. I think is enough. Yeah, I think like the top and the bottom, and then this is essentially him kind of like leaning back after he shot it. And I need a bit more motion there as well, so something like that. Okay, cool. The illustration is 12 minutes. Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, you've read I always like to use the example of like you know, Molly from Neuromancer talks about like this. I like to use this example for like artists as well, but also for writers, I guess, who write very terse stuff. So Molly in Neuromancer by William Gibson basically gives the example of this pest control guy. It's a cyberpunk book, right? And the pest control guy, essentially, the way he finds the pests is he goes around, kind of like listens around at the floor for like an hour, finds one spot, takes a sword, and then just jabs it through that spot, and then leaves the house. That's how he like finds the rats. And that's the example that she was giving in terms of like efficiency, because that kind of stuff is like it's fast, but like you have to have like basically studied it to get that fast, if that makes sense. Um, I feel like the reason a lot of artists are not as fast as they could be is because they were not kind of thinking about the efficiency as part of their training regiment. They weren't essentially timing themselves often enough. So what I did for about, I want to say like 2-3 years, is I will do one drawing every single day. Actually, more than that, more than 2-3 years, like 5 years. It was during my uni time. But I will do a drawing. I'll try to do an entire painting and I'll time it. So it will be within 5 minutes, I believe. And it will be more complicated than this. So I've actually lost the ability to do that. But if you want to get fast at like illustrations in particular, I'll highly recommend doing time exercises specifically for poses, right? I also like highly recommend two more things. Like yeah, Kim Dias Home is a very interesting example of that, but I would actually recommend looking into Brush Efficiency by Yama Urabeyev. And I'm gonna write down the name because it's kind of hard to. I'm gonna write down the entirety of the thing in chat. So I would recommend like looking that up and trying to get the course, which I think is like $10 or something or less than that. And you get the brushes as well. And it goes through essentially how he makes it so that he can do his drawings in like matter of minutes. Or paintings. Maybe white buttons and cuffs. Yeah, no, that's a good call. Actually, I was gonna do these are the white. This is essentially like the whatchamacallit, the cuffs. So I'll do like something like that, and then there you go. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we can do. Let's see. I really like the idea of the priest taking mob money, and I don't know if I can do a woman detective justice, and I kind of want to do something easier now, so maybe I'll do the priest. I don't know. It's a bit. How do I even draw that? Right, like trying to picture it in my head. Like the priest is his he's facing the camera and he's taking the money. No, it doesn't. No, I'm gonna do the woman detective. Yeah, I'm gonna do the woman detective. Oh yeah, there's one more as well. There's a guy flexing in a suit, a la Goodfellas. Okay, um, Goodfellas. I think I know what you're talking about. Like he's essentially like putting the coat on, right? Putting coat on. Yeah, yeah, okay. I think I have an idea of what might work for this. So I'm gonna create a new document. Ah shit. New document. And this one I'm gonna actually approach in a different way, just because I like to change up my approach to painting from time to time. This one I'm gonna try to do through gesture. So we're actually gonna do it a little bit differently this time, because I think this one will benefit a lot more from doing gesture rather than doing precise lines. You can kind of see what I'm going for already, I think. Like his hand will basically be here, like that, and he's essentially like putting on a coat. So like that, and then I'm gonna have the coat kind of like whip off into the background, and then like a belt here, and he's kind of like getting ready for work kind of thing. And I think the main focus of something like this will be essentially the guy's face, right? He's like kind of like, I feel like the best lighting for something like this will not be top down. It will actually be slightly from the back. Let's see. Woman detective. Actually, I might still do the woman detective. I might still do it. I might go for it, but like I'm not too sure yet. So I'm because I kind of wanted to finish off the stream fairly soon. So I wanted to do something that's doable, but I might just go for it. And if it doesn't work out, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. So let's try to do this fairly quickly, at least the base shapes of it. So he's gonna be like basically kind of lit from slightly the back. So he's gonna like look like that. Like he's gonna, like this part here, essentially gonna be lit up. This part here is gonna be gone. There's gonna be an ear here because it's lit from the back. This part will not be visible. Nose will be visible slightly. Yeah, like that. So he's gonna be basically doing that. I'm gonna draw a bit of the ear there. I'm gonna have to go soon as well because I realized that I actually have an appointment fairly soon-ish as well. Because I'm going for a game later on tonight. And I have to go in maybe an hour or so, but like I'm gonna go sooner than that obviously because I have to prepare. But I have like a real life game tonight. I mentioned it, it's Fist. I'm gonna be playing that later on. There we go. I need to make sure that it's obvious that he's kind of like putting on a coat. So I think I need to make this a bit more gestural. Like that. And then make it obvious that the underside here is white. And probably if the light is coming from that direction. Actually, now that I'm like doing this, I really kind of enjoy drawing in this style. I haven't done this in quite a while actually. Might do this for my I'm gonna try to see whether I can amalgamate this with my inking techniques. Because I just did it for the Wendigo looking guy just now. So it might be possible. Okay, there you go. Let me see if there's gonna be any messages. Let me see. Oh yeah, actually that might work. Like if I'm doing something like that, it might actually be able to be done in a relatively quick time frame. That kind of posing. So like peeking around a corner. I think I can do that. Yeah, let's try it. let's go for it. I mean, even if I fail, what's the worst that could happen? I am just gonna try to see whether I can draw it within. Let's see. I'll give myself a time limit of like 20 minutes. Let's do 20 minutes. Okay, so let's do 20 minutes, and then let me finish this up, and then we'll do that, and then we'll finish off for today. We'll call it done for today. Yeah, okay, so woman detective, basically, trying to recap this. A woman detective with peeking around a corner, right? Is that correct? Like something like that? Like that'll work? If that's the case, I think I can pull it off actually. The main thing that gives me pause is like getting the features just right. But if it's kind of like a noir kind of look, should be doable. Also, I think this guy's like more of a detective rather than a mob boss, but yeah. I think like I'll do something like that more. Alright. Let me flip it. Yeah, it looks correct. I'm gonna have more of it kinda just, yeah, like that. And then like that. Okay, cool. Maybe we could also do a bit of the code hanging out here, even though that's not really gonna be visible, I think. Uh, yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. Save this as El Boca di Lupo code PSD. Alright, last one. Okay, this one I'm gonna have to lock in, so I'm not gonna look at chat for the next, like say 10 minutes. Let me read the messages now. Oh, a flying tie. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. No, that's a good idea. That's a fantastic idea, actually. That's something I didn't even consider. Like, he's like really getting dressed in a hurry, right? So maybe that's too much. Don't want to overdo it. Actually, hmm. You know what I might do instead? I might just do the. Yeah, I just want to do the contours of like the shirt. I think that will work better. Yeah, I actually like that better. So I'm gonna do something like that, and then maybe. Okay, there you go. I think I'm happy with that. Actually, no, no, no. I did say just now that like this part wouldn't be visible, and it wouldn't be if you are like putting on a shirt like that, right? Then this part will kind of go down a bit more. There we go. Okay, that's what was bothering me about it. Okay, cool. All right, woman detective. All right. Uh, I just need a girl holding a gun, and what differentiates that? I mean, it's just. Uh, Actually, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have like a downward shot of you looking up at a female detective who's about to shoot you. Will that work? Kat, do you think that will work? That's probably harder than what we initially intended, but I think it will look better. Um, hmm. Okay, I'll try it out. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna give myself 20 minutes, so I'll end off at 4 p.m. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna blast through this real quick. Something like that. The face kind of goes up like that. Uh, it's like that. Okay. Hmm. Okay. This is already pretty tough, but I think like having like the vest essentially might work. Hmm. I'll do like ponytail maybe. Not really a ponytail, but there we go. All right. Let's do like a obvious indicator of a badge of some sort. Check it. Hard to say. Check it. No, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do like yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna just do something like that, maybe. And then I'll just focus on the hand first. So that will be, it's coming towards us, so like that, right? Like that. And then like, this kind of pose is really hard to do, I have to say. Like the foreshortening on it is like tough as hell. There you go. That kind of is the pose I'm looking for. So the hard part is gonna be communicating across the perspective of it. I think it will primarily actually come down to the gun. Like the angle of the gun is gonna make the most difference. So I'm gonna have to put some real thought into that. I think something like that would work. Right? Yeah, like that, and then like that. Then the hand will be lit up from here. Oh man, this stuff. I don't know why this is like giving me so much trouble, because this part is not the part that I thought would give me trouble, like the hand holding the gun. But I guess it's kind of tough. Let's do like that. Let's see. Okay, that looks correct for the most part. So if I do like that, right? And then I kind of like leaned it in like that. Will it kind of round off there? I'm not sure. The reference I have is not really helpful, or as helpful as I want it to be for this. So, 'cause I want to kind of change up the lighting a little bit. I kind of want the idea of like, I'm gonna look at chat in a second, but I think I like the idea of the light kind of coming from the gunshot or from below, you know, like let me see if I can do this. Like that, right? So like that. And then like this part will obviously be very light. I want it to be obvious as well. I think that's the tough part. Like it being obvious that it's coming from like the gun. Like it's a gunshot, you know? That part is gonna be pretty hard to do. I'm gonna try my best. So like that. Like that, I guess. And then yeah, okay. Let me take a look at the chat. Oh shit! I just read your message. Yeah, no, I'm kind of portraying a loose cannon, I think. Or at least that's what I was thinking of. So you know, I think that's fine. Hopefully, I mean I hope that's fine. Okay, I kind of like that. I like this kind of. Oh man, okay, I really like this angle here. Okay, let me see. Something like that. Okay, this is gonna be kind of tough. Like, for one thing, like doing this kind of angle is already pretty tough. Like that. I'm like, I realize that I'm like tilting my head, which is a habit that I make when I do when I'm not sure like what angle I should put things at. Probably, yeah, I'm gonna say like nose kind of arches down there. I might make the eyes kind of non-distinct as well. Yeah, I'm gonna actually redo that part. I think that kind of looks good to me. Like, just that the hair needs to be a bit more full, I guess. Yeah, I kind of like that. Kind of a strange hairstyle though. I might have to change the hairstyle just because it's not like I guess it's just not like a mobster era hairstyle. I don't know like what era that is called, but you know like I'm blanking out. Sorry, my brain fog is acting up, so I might have to call this off soon. But I think we're going in the right direction. Yeah, sorry about that. Like brain fog is making it so that I can't speak. But I'm gonna, I think, try to indicate some of the clothing folds here. And I want to make sure that it looks like it's the gunshot, or she's being at least lit up from below. So something like that, and then and then like that. Yeah, actually that works. Yeah, that works. Cool. Okay. Now I kind of need to make sure that it's obvious that the silhouette includes like essentially this belt thing over the shoulder. I'm looking at like pictures of detectives and they have like this kind of weird harness, I guess they call it. But I need to make sure that's visible and then like that, I think. All right. So like, oh, that's tough. I guess like here. Sorry, I know I'm just talking to myself at this point. Let me do a chat. I like the hair. Okay, okay, cool. Let's see. The forearm is a bit thick. Yeah, I'm having trouble with that honestly because like I want it to be very on the perspective to be obvious, but I think it is too thick. Let me flip it. Yeah, it's too thick. You're right. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, the hairstyle is good, and yeah, I'm starting to lose it in terms of like my energy, so I'm gonna finish this up. Well, I mean, sorry. Once I finish this up, we'll call it. The main thing I'm having trouble with, I guess, is the lighting because I decided to kind of like make it tougher on myself for some reason by choosing this weird lighting scheme. I can try my best, but might have to revert to something more normal. Um, okay. The lighting of the face also looks a bit odd to me. I'm not sure what it is. Like, is it a nose? What is it? Like, so this, okay, I'm gonna try to draw over this, like in my head. So this, the eye kind of comes down to the socket. The socket kind of comes down to the nose here. Then the chin is more like comes out around here. The mouth is here. Right, right, right. Okay. Like that. And then I guess like around the philtrum up to the cheek here will be shadowed, maybe? Not sure. Oh, actually, no, that works. I think I just made it work by accident, but yeah, it seems that actually looks correct. I just need to round it off, I think, like that. Okay, I feel like the way I got to this was completely by accident, but it looks correct to me now. Oh man. Forearm is maybe too thick. Alright, yeah. No, I think the face is good now, but I have to work on the forearm, yeah. Let me just do that real quick. Okay, I'm gonna... Thank God I'm working digitally, because I'm just gonna move the head. Like, here. I think, no, actually, I think the forearm is fine. It's the head that's too small. Maybe. So I feel like the forearm, in terms of, like, the perspective there. Yeah, no, to me, at least to my eyes, that looks correct now. I don't know if, let me try flip it again. Yeah, to my eyes, that looks correct now. I think it was the head. I think the head was just, like, way too out of whack. And that was kind of, like, looking very odd as a result. Lack of nostrils. Yeah. Man, I don't know how I'm gonna do the nostrils, to be honest. I guess I'll just try it, but, like, I mean, like that, I guess. And then, like, shadow this section here a bit. That doesn't look too bad, but maybe you have to, like, make it more direction. Make it more direction. That's a word, apparently. Make it more direction. That's what I was trying to say. No, that makes it look worse. Bring it back down. Okay, I'm gonna do, like, there and... Yeah, I think, like, I have to kind of curve it. Otherwise, it's gonna look very unnatural. Yeah, okay. I think that's good. I think that's kind of where I want it to be. This is kind of like the thumb, by the way. Like, I know, like, I know I didn't draw the shadow of the thumb, which is probably what made it look like the forearm, but that's the thumb. Whoops. That's completely my bad. Alright. Let's do it like that, and maybe like that. I think, oh, I have to save this. El Boca di Lupo Woman Detective save. Yo, Swamp Pro, hello. Yeah, okay, yeah. Alright. That's cool. Yeah, I didn't think the hit was the issue either until I, like, looked at it from afar. Then I was like, huh, that looks completely off, but it looks more like the hit is the, the main thing that's off. And then we just need to... I think we're gonna keep some of that... Yeah, okay. You know what I'm gonna do? Actually, I kind of got an idea. I'm gonna run with it. I'm gonna have the hair kind of, like, flowing in this direction. Yeah, and I'm gonna try to do that for the entire pose as well. So I'm gonna do, like, let's do, like that. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm actually fairly happy with that, I think. Unless there's any other edits that people think, unless people think it's completely weird looking. But I kind of am happy with how it looks actually now. There are some things I want to change. Specifically, I want to make sure that it's obvious that this is a police badge. So I'm gonna search for police badge. Maybe a flash. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Why didn't I do that? You can tell I'm tired. Okay, like that. That's like the most obvious thing, and I forgot about that. I guess, like, here we'll get hit by light quite a bit. And, like, actually, probably the whole... Let me try something. Let me put a new layer. Oh yeah, that's good. Do I need to do it? Okay, I'm gonna redo it actually. But I'm gonna do, like, yeah, like that. Um, yeah. Then what I want to do is I want to mask it and then, like, uh put it down to, like, 70% opacity, like kind of bringing it back down a bit. There we go. All right, that's a great idea. Thank you so much. Arco, I can't really pronounce your name very well, sorry. But thank you so much for the suggestion. That really saved it, I think. Let me try to pronounce your name. I don't want to be rude. Arcodokinigos? Is that correct? Alright, there you go. Okay, the only thing I have a problem with now is that it looks like her hand is in a bracer or something, like the upper part, which yeah. So I'm not gonna fix that. I'm instead just gonna make the top part dark as well, like, and then like same thing here, I guess, because that makes more sense. Yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna make her smirking a little bit more. I think that's it. I think that's it. I think we're done. Save. All right, let me crop all these, and then I will end off the stream really quickly. Save. Oh, I actually want to edit this a bit more. I like this. It's just I feel like it could use a bit of smoothing. Specifically, like here is not obvious where his hit starts. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's good. And then this one turned out pretty good, I think. Ooh, that's a cool name. Oh, oops. Save this. Yeah, let me look up like I don't know, like a pistol, I guess. Yeah, I'll like do the details of it really quick here, but okay. So like there. And like there. I don't want to like overload it with detail, but I think that's good enough. I think this gradation is not completely smooth, but doesn't need to be, I think. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with it. I'll send all these over. Let me check. Thank you, Jeff Witty. I appreciate it. I'm gonna save this. So I'll just show what we did today, essentially. Let's see. So I did this. All right. Oh man, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, but there is one issue though. The hand doesn't look enough like it's going back in perspective, which really bugs me. So I'm gonna fix that right now. Hopefully. No, that makes it look worse. I might fix it off stream, but let me just give it a shot before I call it. Yeah, no, that looks better. Okay, good. That looks better. All right, so we did this, we did this, we did this, and we did this. That's quite a lot. That's quite a lot for one stream, I think. Thank you so much for hanging out. No, I should be one saying thank you. It's like I really appreciate you guys like just hanging out, watching me draw. I don't know if I give any particularly useful commentary or anything like that, but I really appreciate you guys hanging out. Makes makes the drawing experience a lot more fun, I guess, when there's people to kind of bounce ideas off of and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you so much. I will stop the stream now, but I will probably be upping the Karl Raff video probably today. I think I will upload it today. It's already done. I just need to make a thumbnail for it. But yeah, I did that tomorrow. But yeah, I'll see you around. Bye. How long were we streaming? 2 hours, 2.5, 2.5 hours, so thereabouts. All right. Goodbye, everybody.